Welcome to Reparenting Radio. I'm Lisa Watson, architect of human transformation. This is a space for leaders, parents, and anyone ready to break old patterns, regulate their nervous system, and show up in their life with clarity and self-trust. If you're ready to change the way you lead, love, and live, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Hello, and welcome back to Reparenting Radio. Today, the topic that we're going to discuss is the stories that we tell ourselves. Not the dramatic stories, not the traumatic stories necessarily, not even the interesting ones. I mean the quiet, everyday scripts that are running in the background, the ones that you probably don't even hear yourself saying anymore. A lot of the stories that we tell ourselves, first of all, are not even true. But our nervous system doesn't know that. And our subconscious mind will simply accept what we tell it over and over again. It'll eventually become truth if it isn't our truth already. Whether it really has any basis for truth or not, we say it often enough, we will believe it. And our beliefs are what create our reality. We grow up being told to tell the truth. Be honest with yourself. Face reality. Don't lie. Meanwhile, we're literally being lied to all of the time. But our nervous system, it doesn't evaluate truth. It doesn't fact check. It doesn't ask, is this objectively accurate? It asks one question. Is this familiar? And if it's familiar, it accepts it and it installs it into our operating system as truth. But most of the stories that we tell ourselves as adults are not facts, but judgments or memorized scripts. They're just repetitions, like I'm bad with money, I'm too much, I'm just not lovable, I always mess things up. My body's stupid and ugly. I'm so behind. I should have done this already. I should be further along. None of those things are facts. They're simply scripts. They were downloaded early, they were repeated often, and they were reinforced emotionally and then accepted as truth by your nervous system and your subconscious mind, because the nervous system and the subconscious mind doesn't know fact from fiction. It just knows what it's told. So often what is suggested in order to reprogram these scripts, one of the methods is affirmations. And people often argue that affirmations aren't truly effective. They say, they're just fake, or I'm just lying to myself. They don't work. Telling yourself you're unlovable is actually also an affirmation, though, and it's a lie. So is I'm dumb, I'm broken, I'm not good enough, my body's not good enough, I can't trust myself, or love never lasts. None of those things are facts, and they're also affirmations. They're negative ones. Anything that starts with I am is an affirmation. You can affirm what you want to see in your world, or you can affirm what you don't want to see. Either way, you will get more of what you're affirming. The avatar doesn't care whether what you say is positive or negative. The subconscious mind and your nervous system, they're not judging it. The words that you say, they're simply accepting it. We don't have a filter when it comes to this. We don't think, that sounds harsh, unless we have awareness and we're listening to the thoughts that we're saying. Then we have the opportunity for the conscious mind to come in and change the narrative. But generally what we hear is just language and emotion. And the subconscious mind, the nervous system just say, okay, accepted, installed, got it. And your system doesn't actually know whether you're talking to it, the avatar, or you're speaking to someone else like Siri or a friend or your computer or yourself in a mirror, your partner, some guy on the road. It hears sound, it hears tone, it's listening to the script that you're speaking and downloading it and feeling the emotion of it, and it records it all. And when you say things like, I'm such an idiot, or I'm a mess, I'm crazy, your system doesn't laugh. It doesn't think you're joking. It downloads it as truth. And your body is just a recording device. Your body isn't philosophical. It's literally mechanical. It records words, tone, repetition, emotional charge, and then it organizes your behavior around those instructions. This is why change feels so hard and positive affirmations feel like lies. Not because you're resistant, but because you're asking your system to accept new software on old hardware without updating the files. So how do we update the files? How do we update the programming? Should we just tell ourselves positive lies? Well, this is where a lot of us get tripped up. And the answer isn't just hype yourself up. It isn't just gaslight your reality or pretend. Instead, you're simply choosing your scripts consciously. Because right now, you're probably lying to yourself unconsciously by running the same scripts from your early conditioning. So what you want to do is start questioning the scripts and stories that you hear yourself saying. Is this statement true? Is this the story I want to continue to tell myself? Is this what I really want to believe about myself? Do I truly believe I'm not lovable? Why would I say that? That's not true. That's just a script. Who taught me that this was true? Do I still want to believe this? Could I see this from a non-judgmental and a non-shaming point of view? Could I change what I tell myself? Affirmations will fail when they're spoken just at the system. They work when they're spoken to the system. So we're not just saying, I'm confident, I'm healed, I'm amazing. But instead, we're saying things like, I'm learning to trust myself. I'm allowed to move at my own pace. I'm safe to be my authentic self. My body is just responding to safety right now. I can be with discomfort without abandoning myself. Those aren't lies. Those are instructions. And your system responds to leadership. Because your nervous system, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not broken. It's doing exactly what it was trained to do. It's waiting and looking for consistency, tone, authority without force. It's waiting to hear that it's safe. It's waiting to be validated. And it's waiting for leadership and authority to become the default setting. Because it believes what you tell it. If you tell it it isn't good enough, smart enough, fast enough, it's going to prove it to you by being an energetic match to experiences and situations that will prove that what you're telling it is true. Our words, our commands, our system, we follow them with the utmost loyalty. We're loyal to our programs. But it's time to remember that those programs are outdated. Those programs were built for a child that didn't have choices or autonomy and whose main goal was connection and safety with its caregivers, whether they were doing a good job or not. The most important first step is awareness. To any change, to any healing, it's always awareness. You don't need to replace every thought. You need to notice the ones that you're repeating and pay attention to casual self-talk, under the breath comments, the way you narrate mistakes, how you talk about your body, how you talk about your capacity, how you talk about others, how you talk to artificial intelligence. That's the real curriculum. And there's a simple practice that I want to offer you to start trying. When you hear a familiar negative story being thought of in your mind, or you're saying it out loud, don't fight it. Do not resist the urge. Don't push it away like, oh no, I'm just not going to think that. I'm just not going to say that anymore. Because what we resist persists. Just add this one sentence. That's the story my system learned. Not I shouldn't do this, not I shouldn't think this, not that's wrong. Just say, that's a story. It's a story that my system learned. And now you can get into observation mode without judgment. You can separate your identity from the program. This alone creates the space that you need to stay in your conscious mind and make a choice from the conscious mind. So we can start to reprogram those subconscious behaviors. When we simply push away a thought as bad, as I said, what we resist persists. We want to notice the thought, validate it, recognize it for what it is, and then change the story. When these sort of things pop up in my head, one of the games I play with myself to make sure I don't push things away is when I hear one of these little underlying thoughts that is not conducive to my highest timeline, to my authority, my leadership, to my greatest potential. When I hear it, I see it like a child in the back of the classroom that kind of whispered something under its breath about the teacher maybe, or about the assignment. And I say, hey, you back there, could you stand up please? Say that louder. What did you say? And I say it with interest, not with judgment, not with anger, not with resentment. Just tell me that again. What did you just say? And I'll hear, you never do things on time. I hear you. You say we never do things on time. Well, that's not actually true. We often do things on time. And then I will correct it right there in the now moment. I'm not just going to resist it. I'm going to look at it. Why do I think that? Where did that thought come from? Is that something my mother told me all the time? Is that pressure I got at work or from school or my ex-husband? Like, where is that belief coming from? I don't have to believe that about myself anymore. I can believe that I'm getting better with time every single day. One of the things that I've changed in myself recently, a little experiment that I did, because so many of us struggle with this one, is remembering names when I go to meet people. And almost every time I meet someone, I'll say, my name is Lisa. What's your name? Oh, my name's like Karina. And then Karina will say, I'm just so terrible with names. And I'll say, no, you're not. You're getting better every day. And I tell the story how I used to think I was terrible remembering names. And then doing the work that I do and knowing how the mind works, I'm like, I'm just going to reprogram myself to be really good at remembering names. So now every time I meet someone new, I say, I'm getting better and better at remembering names all the time. And I might ask them their name 2 or 3 times. I'll say, one more time, what is it? it's Karina. Okay. And then I think, and I make an effort to remember it because I'm getting better at remembering names all the time. And the craziest thing happened to me recently. I've been saying this to myself for probably about a year now, practicing always remembering names, telling myself I'm really good at it when I'm in the moment, making sure that I'm giving it the effort. And I was on the phone with a client who I hadn't worked with in about 6 months. And the last session that we had, he mentioned a girl, like sort of just in passing, like there was this girl and her name was whatever, but we didn't talk about for a long time. And 6 months later, I get on the call with him and I said, yeah, because there's that girl that you met. Her name was Valerie, right? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I remembered her name. It's working. And I got so excited and I called it out to myself because that helps to install the program. You're showing proof. I'm like, see how good I am at remembering names. I heard this one name just quickly, and 6 months later, it was right there, the front of my mind. This stuff works. You can reprogram ourselves. So I want to give you some real world examples, more of them, other than the name thing. Because sometimes, in the details is where we tend to get tripped up. So I'm just going to give you like 3 examples. The first one is, let's say that you identify as a perfectionist and your old script sounds something like, oh, I'm so controlling. I just can't relax. Like nothing is ever good enough for me. It has to be perfect. Why am I always exhausting myself? But when you get in your conscious mind and you decide to look at your perfectionism from more of a avatar programming point of view rather than an identity or a character flaw, then you'll notice and start to gain some awareness that perfectionism was simply a strategy. Perfectionism was your system's way of saying, if I do this right, I'll be safe. If I don't make mistakes, then I won't be criticized. If I stay ahead, I won't get hurt. And you probably learned this behavior in the ages of 0 to 7 when your subconscious mind were being formed. It's not even something you remember creating. So now you're going to re-script it. When those moments come up and you want to give yourself a hard time for being a perfectionist, or no, I have to do it this way because I just am a perfectionist and I identify with being a perfectionist. You have a choice now. You don't have to continue to run the perfectionist program. You're safe not to be a perfectionist. So instead, you're going to say, I'm chill. It's okay. I'm safe to just let that be messy for a minute. I just learned to be precise to protect myself. I'm allowed to loosen that up now. I can choose self-care over control. Nothing bad is going to happen if I don't dust this table right now. Nothing bad is going to happen if my closet isn't perfectly organized. That's not a lie. That's leadership. And when you understand that the root program to your procrastination was something developed in your early conditioning simply to keep you safe and connected with your caregiver so you would continue to feel accepted and loved, then it becomes a whole lot easier to change the habit. Or maybe your habit is procrastination. Maybe you say things to yourself like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? I'm so lazy. I just have no discipline. Why can't I ever get anything done? But procrastination is almost never about laziness. Just like perfectionism, it's about safety. Your system learned that if you wait, you can't fail. If you don't start, no one will be disappointed at the outcome. If you stay frozen, nothing bad will happen. So your new script doesn't become, I'm so motivated. It's, my system pauses when it senses pressure. Or I can move in small, safe steps forward. Or maybe you remind yourself that starting doesn't require certainty or perfection, or that you don't need urgency to be effective. Again, these aren't affirmations, they're instructions. Instructions that are letting your system know that you're safe to move in a new way now. You're safe to believe something different about yourself and to show up differently. Or maybe the self-talk that you're running is around self-worth. Maybe your story is that you're just not good enough, or that you always fall short. Maybe you believe that you need to prove yourself. So your new story becomes, I learned to measure my worth through performance. That's what you're recognizing. That's the awareness you need to gain. I don't need to earn belonging anymore. I'm worthy now. And I can show up without having to brace myself. We're not shaming our current beliefs or our current strategy. We're simply honoring it and then updating it. We're validating it, recognizing it as being a very intelligent program that was running to keep us safe in our childhood, but one we don't need now in our adulthood. Because every one of these patterns, they once made sense to us. They kept us safe. They helped us to survive. So they're not evidence of failure or character flaw or any sort of identity issue. They're simply evidence of your avatar's immense intelligence. So you don't heal yourself by telling yourself that you are different. You heal yourself by telling yourself the truth with compassion and validation. Your nervous system does not need inspiration. It needs orientation. It needs to hear, I see why you did that. Thank you for protecting me, but we're safe to choose differently now. That's how we change the scripts. Not by arguing with them, not by pushing them away, not with toxic positivity, but by leading them. Because you're not broken. You're simply programmed. And programming can be rewritten. It doesn't need force. It doesn't need pressure. It simply needs consistency, presence, and leadership. So pay attention to the stories that you repeat. They're teaching your system what to expect. And remember, your nervous system is listening to you all the time, and it believes every word you say. Until next time, friends, have a great week. Thank you for listening to Reparenting Radio. If today's conversation supported you, take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who knows they were made for more than the patterns that they inherited. If you're ready for serious inner work and real transformation, personally or professionally, you can explore my leadership pathways at lisa-watson.com. And if you're raising little ones alongside your own healing, you'll find my children's books at awakentheone.org. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and keep reparenting the parts of you that are ready to come home to their authenticity.